I'm completely hopeless at it. I was a really bad actor at school, and I've never been able to master the art of mimicry. But my husband, he does it really. He can do all the voice.
The royal family has just released a new statement about Queen Camilla, and it's not what she wanted to hear, as it quietly redraws her place in the royal hierarchy. While the announcement avoids drama on the surface, its timing tells a different story, as William and Catherine seem to be taking the spotlight. While some royal watchers think this is about protecting the monarchy's future, others say it's about old wounds that never really healed. Either way, Camilla's future role has been decided. Wondering what this role is? Stick with us to find out. Announcement on Queen Camilla's future role. Queen Camilla has worked so hard to have a place in the monarchy right from when she was finally accepted as part of the royal family in 2005. She worked her way to the top, trying to erase years of scandals and public distrust to create a good image. While she succeeded at this, she never expected that the royal family, through Prince William, would announce that she was not part of his long-term vision for the monarchy. The announcement came as a shock to Camilla, who had always wanted to continue upholding her duties to the very end. But was the announcement by Prince William meant to be a shock to her? Keep watching to find out. In recent interviews, Prince William, while stating his plans for the monarchy, had clearly stated that he had no intention of involving Queen Camilla. He made his stance known that when he took over the monarchy, he was going to be focused more on involving the younger royals who could reach out directly to the public and communicate with them at the same level. He wasn't going to involve the older royals who held on to the reins of the older traditional method of monarchy, which involved strict duty before personal connection and communicating from a distance. Instead, Prince William envisioned a close relationship where the public and the monarchy felt much closer to each other, and Camilla was clearly not involved in the list of those who were going to be included. Insiders reported that when William announced this on national TV, Camilla got into a heated argument with Charles, as she knew that William had plans of taking her roles and giving them to the younger royals, thereby also stripping her of her duties and making her irrelevant. When William returned to the palace, his father tried to talk him into involving the older royals in the monarchy's future duties, as they were still relevant and experienced. They weren't meant to be sidelined as though they weren't important. But William said this decision wasn't a personal one, but was based on the future of the monarchy to get more of the younger royals involved in the daily workings of the monarchy, thereby grooming them early. Camilla chipped in, saying that she still wanted to serve and that the younger royals couldn't carry out most of the duties. Prince William, however, said the younger royals would learn, and it would be fun and interactive for them all to start getting more involved in the royal responsibilities. Insiders reported that Prince William also suggested that the older royals could retire when he took over, just like his grandfather, Prince Philip, did during his time while Queen Elizabeth II was queen. Prince Philip retired from public duties and went to Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate, where he spent the rest of his last days while Queen Elizabeth continued ruling. Camilla was in shock listening to the words of Prince William. This wasn't just a statement that outlined policy, but one that felt like a personal grudge against Camilla. Her eyes fell downward, sad. King Charles tried to talk to his son, but nothing changed in William's future plans for the monarchy. This was heartbreaking for Camilla, but she knew at this moment, just like everyone, that she wasn't going to hold any relevant role or carry out any duty when Prince William took over the throne. But she never expected this, as she and William seemed to be getting along in the past months. But little did Camilla know that William never took their newly found closeness to heart. In early 2024, when King Charles and Princess Catherine fell sick and were both diagnosed with cancer, it was reported that Camilla and William had gotten closer. This was based on the shared illness of their spouses. The emotional toll of caring for their ill spouses gave them shared empathy as they were dealing with worry, public pressure, and increased responsibility. Gradually, they began to get along. Although their conversation was usually civil in the past, it improved. Their working relationship became smoother, and they were even seen laughing together on occasion. William began to appreciate Camilla's quiet strength and publicly credited her with softening his father and bringing out his more human side. Camilla's unwavering loyalty and care toward the king during this period eventually earned William's respect. However, despite all of these acknowledgments and praises toward Camilla's dedication, William still had a different plan for the future monarchy that didn't include her. And this was because of the old wounds that Camilla had inflicted. Plus, he knew Camilla was an ambitious woman, so he knew better than to involve her in his future plans. When Camilla married Charles, it was said that she would retain the title of Princess Consort when Charles became king. However, she worked her way tirelessly, proving herself daily to the monarchy, such that she became one of the hard-working and devoted royals. Queen Elizabeth II also noticed Camilla's dedication to the monarchy and made an announcement on her Platinum Jubilee that she wished for Camilla to be crowned Queen Consort when she died. The announcement came as a shock to many, including Prince William and Harry. This moment marked a shift in public perception, and surprisingly, it even brought William and Camilla somewhat closer as Harry stepped back from royal duties. Camilla was excited and happy by this announcement, and when Queen Elizabeth died in September 2022, Camilla was crowned Queen Consort of England. But that wasn't enough. She made sure to pressure Charles to remove consort from her title and asked that she would simply be referred to as Queen. When Charles made this announcement at the banquet of their coronation, many disapproved of it, especially Princess Anne, who bluntly said that Camilla was never going to be a true queen, no matter how they tried to change her title. She was going to be Camilla, the other woman who broke the marriage of Diana and led the monarchy to many scandals. But Camilla cared less about Anne's word. She had achieved what she had always wanted, to one day be the queen beside Charles, and she was now being addressed as Queen Camilla. It was surprising, yet this showed the ambition of Camilla toward achieving her goals. But this dream was almost cut short when King Charles started falling ill, barely 2 years into his reign as king. When news broke out on King Charles's ill health, the public sympathized with him and wished him a quick recovery. Insiders, however, reported that Camilla had wanted King Charles to keep his illness a secret, as she didn't want anyone to know. But Charles had refused and came out openly to talk about it. Camilla was, however, by his side, encouraging him to get better, as she didn't want to let go of the reins of power so soon, as they had just taken over the monarchy, and her dream of being queen was being achieved. But age isn't on King Charles's side, as he became king at age 73, making him the oldest monarch to have ever ascended to the throne, and with age comes so many illnesses that tend to hold one back. With King Charles battling several health challenges, the future of the monarchy looks to the Wales family. Prince William and Princess Catherine, who have become the new focus of the monarchy. Camilla has, however, been trying to get into William's good books so that he can include her in his future plans. But still, nothing has changed with William. William still remembers who Camilla is, even though the years have passed and she has gained a new title for herself as Queen Consort Camilla. But some wounds never heal, no matter how devoted and dedicated you are to your duty. Stay tuned as we look at the wounds that William still carries in his heart. Prince William's unhealed wounds. Prince William and Queen Camilla's relationship was tense from the beginning. This was because of her past involvement with his parents' marriage. William had always been fully aware of and deeply hurt by his father's affair with Camilla, which eventually led to the collapse of his parents' marriage. William was 15 years old when his mother, Princess Diana, died. He was old enough to understand what was going on, as he had grown up hearing rumors and scandals surrounding his parents. He had also lived through them, having to visit his father and mother during their period of divorce. William had also read the stories published in the press, including the infamous Camillagate scandal, and watched his mother's heartbreaking interviews, where she described Camilla Parker Bowles as the third person in her marriage, a woman who ruined her fairy tale dream. William had seen these things at age 15, while he was still too young to fully grasp all that happened, but he still witnessed it, and such a hurt or wound couldn't just heal over the years, especially as his mother died. While William and Harry couldn't do anything to save their parents' marriage as they were young, what hurt them the most was that even as they grieved their mother's tragic death, their father continued his affair with Camilla, the same woman who had played a major role in their parents' marriage breakdown and hurt their mother. But Charles didn't stop there, as he also wanted to marry the woman who had caused so much pain to their family. But the boys didn't want this. They didn't want Camilla as a part of their family or home. In Harry's memoir, Spare, Harry revealed that he and William had pleaded with their father not to marry Camilla. They asked him to marry anyone else but the woman who hurt their mother. But Prince Charles didn't care about his son's pleas. They were too young to understand the love he felt for Camilla, and he didn't really care about their disapproval, just like he didn't care about his mother's disapproval of his relationship with Camilla. Charles told them he was going to marry Camilla. The boys were left with no choice but to accept and wish their father well on his decision. However, Prince Charles and Camilla didn't marry immediately. This was because Queen Elizabeth II disapproved of the marriage, and Charles was expected to be the future king. He needed his mother's approval for the marriage to go forth, as he didn't want to lose his title or position as future king. While Queen Elizabeth withheld her approval, Camilla was already involved in the children's lives as she and Charles began to live together. But this wasn't such an easy moment for Camilla, as William and Harry didn't receive her with open arms. The first time Camilla met Prince William was in 1998, a year after Princess Diana's death. Camilla felt extremely uncomfortable and was said to be shaking like a leaf as she was scared and felt guilty. She was aware of the role she played in the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage, and she knew Diana's children blamed her, at least partly, for what had happened to their mother. After their first meeting and William left, Camilla immediately asked for a gin and tonic to calm down, as she was terrified. Insiders reported that Camilla and William's first meeting wasn't a warm one. William kept a poker face the entire time. Like Harry, he held deep resentment toward her and didn't trust her. But who could blame him after what she did to his mother? In April 2005, 8 years after Diana died, Queen Elizabeth gave her approval for Camilla and Charles's marriage, but this didn't help Camilla and Diana's son's relationship. William and Harry only tolerated Camilla's presence. Camilla, aware of how they felt, kept her distance. She didn't act like a motherly figure to the boys. She left that to their father and rarely interfered in Charles's relationship with his sons. And even if she had tried, the boys wouldn't have welcomed her input. She was an outsider to them, and a woman they only forced themselves to respect because of their father. However, it was reported that there were times when Camilla stepped in to talk to the boys, especially when they seemed disrespectful to their father. She occasionally stepped in to support her husband, but this wasn't out of maternal concern. And over the years, as the boys grew up, they held different opinions about Camilla and disliked her. Still, Camilla tried to win public favor as she worked hard to change the narrative around her image. But did it work? Let's find out. Queen Elizabeth had once called Camilla the Wicked Woman, and this was because of how she had placed the royal family in the middle of scandals. But Camilla worked her way to show that she was a good woman. She began to get involved with charities like the National Osteoporosis Society and literacy programs, showing the public the good work she was doing. But Camilla was accused by Prince William of allegedly leaking royal stories to the press. These stories were said to portray her in a favorable light while placing other royal family members in the middle of scandals. It redirected media attention away from her controversial marriage to Charles, and the boys reportedly saw that as calculated and manipulative, especially Prince Harry. Prince Harry held a negative view of Camilla until he grew up. In his memoir, Spare, he wrote that he had been sacrificed on Camilla's personal PR altar. Harry explained that Camilla believed positive press coverage would improve her reputation and increase public acceptance of her eventual role as Charles's wife. According to Harry, this made Camilla dangerous, as she had been cast as a villain by the press for her role in the dissolution of his parents' marriage and needed to rehabilitate her image. Camilla began to forge connections with the British press and was willing to share personal information on things happening in the royal family with the press. This made Camilla a dangerous woman in the royal family. In Spare, Harry also described his conflicted feelings about gaining a step-parent who, he believed, had recently sacrificed him on her personal PR altar by giving the press personal information concerning his family. Despite Harry's accusations, Camilla didn't respond to him. But one thing was certain: both Diana's sons never forgave Camilla what she did to their mother. They still held a personal grudge against her, even though William was still smiling at her face. To understand the gravity of Camilla's actions, let's take a look at how Camilla came into the royal family. Camilla's true royal story. Queen Camilla was born on July 17, 1947, in London. She grew up in Sussex with her parents, Bruce and Rosalind Shand, and her two younger siblings. Her parents were both successful and wealthy, with her father serving as a Vice Lord Lieutenant of East Sussex. She attended the Queen's Gate School in South Kensington, where she famously told her classmates about her connection to the British royal circle, as her great-grandmother had been King Edward VII's mistress. After school, she studied French in Paris, then returned to London as a debutante in 1965. It was during this time that she met Andrew Parker Bowles, a cavalry officer whom she began dating before she met Prince Charles at a polo match in 1970. Camilla and Charles immediately liked and clicked with each other. From friends, they became lovers. Although Camilla was dating Andrew at the same time, he wasn't in the country, as his naval duties took him away from England. This made Charles and Camilla spend more time together until duty called him. Charles had to focus on his naval career, which took him away from London for 2 years. However, he and Camilla kept in constant communication with each other. Andrew Parker Bowles returned to London at around the same time Charles left, and Camilla rekindled their relationship. He proposed to Camilla, who accepted him, and they got married in July 1973. When Charles learned about Camilla's marriage, he was shocked, as he and Camilla were still romantically involved. However, there was nothing he could do. Prince Charles and Camilla continued to keep in touch, and in 1974, when Camilla had her first child, Tom Parker Bowles, Charles was named his godfather. This showed their close relationship. However, Camilla's marriage had its cracks, as Andrew was unfaithful. This made Camilla confide in her old lover, Prince Charles. They began to spend time together in each other's arms. However, around this time, Prince Charles had already met Lady Diana Spencer, and they were getting acquainted. But this didn't stop Charles from spending time with Camilla. He enjoyed their time together so much that he even purchased the Highgrove house and made it his home in 1980 because of its proximity to Bolehide Manor, where the Parker Bowles family lived. As they continued their relationship in private, Prince Charles continued courting Lady Diana publicly, and at the request of his father, Prince Philip, he proposed to her, and they got married in 1981. Charles ended his relationship with Camilla before the wedding and decided to focus on his marriage to Diana. He and Camilla continued to be friends from a distance for some time, until they could no longer deny that they had feelings for each other. They reignited their relationship despite being married to different people. Camilla was now Charles's mistress, just like her great-grandmother Alice Keppel had been to King Edward VII. But Camilla didn't plan to be a mistress all her life, like her great-grandma. She wanted a future with the future king, and made sure to take Charles away from his wife, as he spent most of his time with her at Highgrove or Bolehide Manor. When Diana's friends first told her that Charles was cheating on her with Camilla, she didn't believe it until she began to see the signs. Charles was more absent from home. She saw love letters in Charles's bags written by Camilla, and she also overheard their intimate phone call conversations. Diana was hurt and heartbroken. She fell deeper into depression, as this time coincided with the time she had just had Prince Harry and was already dealing with postnatal depression. This made her develop an eating disorder called bulimia. Diana wallowed in self-pity as she felt powerless and didn't know what to do. Fearing she might lose her sons, she sat back and watched Camilla steal her husband away from her. Diana kept quiet for years until 1992, when she decided to let the world know the truth about what was happening behind the facade of her fairy tale marriage to Prince Charles. Diana collaborated with Andrew Morton, who published the explosive book titled Diana, Her True Story. The book revealed the difficulties Princess Diana faced in the royal palace, including Prince Charles's affair with Camilla. But she couldn't call Charles and Camilla lovers. Instead, it called them close friends. The royal family was mad at the publication of the book and threatened to sue Andrew as Princess Diana denied working with him on the book. On December 9, 1992, an announcement was made by the Prime Minister that Charles and Diana were separating, although there were no plans for divorce. Diana left Buckingham Palace, and this gave Camilla and Charles more freedom to continue with their relationship. Meanwhile, in 1993, the public got to know more about Charles and Camilla's relationship through the infamous Camillagate scandal, as the transcript of Charles and Camilla's intimate phone call conversation was leaked to the public. The most memorable moment of the scandal involved Charles joking that he wanted to live in Camilla's trousers, even as a tampon. This was an embarrassing moment for Prince Charles and the entire royal family. Queen Elizabeth was so embarrassed that she avoided unnecessary public engagement during that time. Charles also avoided being seen in public for some time, as the publication of the call made it impossible for him to deny his involvement with Camilla. But the story doesn't end here. Despite the public disapproval, Camilla and Charles continued seeing each other. In January 1995, Camilla's husband, Andrew Parker Bowles, filed for a divorce. He was done with the marriage. However, it wasn't the same for Charles, as he and Diana weren't yet divorced. Charles also went public and stated in an interview that he had cheated on Diana, but it was only after things had become irreconcilable between them. However, he didn't get the sympathy of the public, as most people blamed him for all that Diana was going through. Following Charles's interview, Diana decided to do something unexpected. She had a bombshell interview with Martin Bashir in a BBC Panorama series in November 1995. During the interview, Diana famously stated, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." She described Camilla Parker Bowles as the 3rd person in her marriage who broke up her marriage to Prince Charles, as her presence made the marriage overcrowded. Millions of people watched Diana, and their hearts broke as they watched her admit the challenges she faced in the royal family. Princess Diana also revealed that she had once confronted Camilla during the 40th birthday party of Camilla's sister, Lady Annabel Goldsmith, in London. She had told Camilla to stay away from her husband, but this didn't stop Camilla from spending time with Charles. A few months after the publication of the interview, Prince Charles and Diana finalized their divorce. After the divorce, Diana started dating Dodi Fayed, the son of Mohammed Al Fayed, a billionaire. She seemed happy with him, as she also focused on charity causes, as she had always done, and she had her sons with her during the holidays. However, Diana's happiness was cut short as tragedy struck in an unexpected moment. In August 1997, Princess Diana was involved in a car crash in Paris and died. This was shocking and heartbreaking. The public resented Camilla the more, with many blaming her for the incidents that led to Princess Diana's death. Many believed that if Princess Diana had remained married to Prince Charles, she might still be alive. However, even the loss of Princess Diana didn't stop Charles and Camilla from continuing their relationship despite the disapproval of the Queen and the public. Despite the resentment she faced, Camilla never left Charles's side, and eventually the royal family had to accept her. On April 9, 2005, Prince William and Camilla married in a civil ceremony in Windsor, but she wasn't given the title Princess of Wales, like the late Diana Spencer. Camilla was given the title Duchess of Cornwall and was to be known as Princess Consort when Charles ascended the British throne. However, Camilla didn't stop after being accepted by the royal family. She was determined to also win the public, which she did eventually. While many may have forgotten about the role Camilla played in ruining Diana's fairy tale marriage, Prince William has never forgotten. And that's why his plans for the monarchy, once he takes the throne, don't include Camilla having any active role other than taking the title of Queen Dowager. But who knows? Maybe she would be forced to retire on her own in the future once William takes the throne. What do you think of the royal family statement on Queen Camilla's future role? Do you think Prince William did the right thing by excluding her from his future plans for the monarchy? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the following video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.